and white campion over there. And what you might find is the hybrid between the two, which you expect is pink campion. Yeah, I think so, yeah. So there's a pink one. But it's not difficult, a little bit later on, to find corn cockle and corn marigold. And this one here is called cocksfoot. They probably occurred naturally. The things that have been sown here are more things like the dog daisies and the campion and the sort of annual weeds. At about that, or just below there. Sometimes it's much higher. When they first dug these, there was standing water in there. And out there on the fields here, where tractors have been, there was standing water. You've got an alluvial fan. That's not too much of a... So there is water coming from this area, flowing in that direction and carrying alluvium with it, this sort of stuff, this sandy stuff.
Oh, this is stuff.
Which, in some years, is going to flood.
It looks like ashes. Yes.
I mean, on the geological map of this area, it's actually marked as an alluvial fan. So, it's been studied by some of the country's top geologists.
And this is something special then?
Well, no, it's quite wet here.
Yeah.
And it could be subject, depending on what happens with rainfall. If we get a lot
So this could be a floodplain.
Oh, that could be completely flooded if there are houses.
Yeah.
Ah, no.
That's what you're talking.
It was just mentioned that once in about every 100 years it could happen.
Yeah.
It was mentioned that every 100 years, something like that.
Brian,
But I didn't know it would happen here
It's
as
a little
well.
bit further down. It's on the edge. It's on the edge with the corner of Eastern Way.
Yeah. Well,
I think where that you're pointing that orchard. That's the edge.
yeah.
This would still affect it.
This alluvial fan
It
covers
would
that
still
area there.
Yeah.
We know that the climate is changing.
Yeah.
We know that it's likely to get much wetter. Well, at least that's what we're told. And
the signs are pretty strong as well, aren't they? To be fair.
Yeah.
How do you spell alluvial?
ALLUVIAL.
Thank you.
And if you've got it in your, apparently, if you've got it in your deeds, then it's a pluvial flooding, or pluvial, P-L-U-V-I-A-L, pluvial flooding, which is,
Right down.
it is related to what's happened in Peru, where you get massive floods, where you've had massive floods, more than in the previous century. All of a sudden, it's likely to happen. That sort of flooding is likely to happen here. I have highlighted that in the report that I sent through to the North Arts planners. But, the pond down there is quite interesting. I would like to know if there are still great crested newts there. Now, it is illegal to go with a net and disturb the habitat. But what you can do, or what I'd like somebody to do, is to go down there after dark with a torch and just stand there and look in the water with this torch to see if you can see a great crested newt, which is about that long.
What colour are they?
Well,
Kind of browny green on the back, like a frog, but
well,
yellow and
the male great crested newts are black.
Are
They've
they?
got a crest along the back, and they've got red and orange black
they're
spots on
really
their bellies.
pretty on the bottom. If you Google it, there's thousands of pictures.
The great crested newt is about twice the size of the common newt, or smooth newt.
Great crested newt. You need a photograph evidence that they're in there.
Do you know there was a survey done a couple of years ago, and they reckon that we as taxpayers spend £7,000 per year per newt protecting them. Yeah,
Really?
that kind of actually makes it almost sound insane, doesn't it? But yeah, £7,000 a newt.
Yeah.
That's what it's costing to protect them.
And you think they're in there?
Yeah.
They certainly
good
were
chance.
historically, and
Can't one set up a camera then? Like one of those. Friend lives in Cough Lane, I'll send her.
no, you.
The camera, a computer camera and a little light, and then just kind of film it like they do in, was it Springwatch or Garden Watch? They do in the BBC.
I don't think it quite work, but it might.
I found one under a stone in Gravely.
Yeah.
I just lifted up a paving slab that's about probably hit from here to Norton Pond,
Yeah.
away from a pond at the bottom of the golf course there in Gravely.
Because once they finish mating and breeding, they leave the pond and then they hide
That's
out
their
underneath
typically
the
their
stones
habitat.
and
Is it under a damp stone
Yeah,
or something? A
yeah.
bit like a toad.
Careful.
And that's why you can't build within 500, is it 500
No,
metres?
that's worse than that with a newt. I mean, the pond I think is 500 metres. It's not to do with a newt,
No.
is it?
Like I say, something like that anyway.
That edge of that, where the building to there, is definitely within 500 metres.
Yeah. Skylark singing over there.
There are lots of them here.
Yeah.
They're really
That's
abundant.
another red data species.
You can really hear so many. Like normally we hear like about 1 or 2 o'clock, like lunchtime, and then you really can hear so many of them.
I mean, what I'd like to see is more recording here, just to keep things up to date. It's all very well, I've written something and my knowledge goes back 10, 15, 20 years, that sort of thing. And I only concentrated on certain things, or I'm becoming more concentrated on it here. I mean, I have not seen a fox here.
Oh, there's foxes. We have seen foxes.
Yeah, we saw fox. Was it
Yeah.
last
And
Sunday?
I haven't seen
Big red
3
ones.
weeks ago.
muntjac deer or fallow deer.
And I've seen a muntjac at Averset
Yeah.
on the field at the back of us.
And what about badger?
No, I've seen a badger.
But that's a really rare bird, isn't it?
It's one of the red tater species.
So,
Can you hear it?
I can.
A little bit of rainbow cheese. That's what it says. Oh yeah, no, it says a little bit of rainbow cheese.
So Brian, if they disturb the nests of yellowhammers, it's against the law, but they do nothing
What you
about
might find is in some of these fields, that I think it's that field there, is slightly lower than this field here. Which is, I'm told by archaeologists, these are the kind of work done on these hedges, documenting them, just getting all the data. So when the time comes, we say, well, you've got a hedge here of perhaps it's 1,000 years old. And you can't do anything about it because it's protected by the hedgerow regulations. But if you do, there's go around that way.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 6:30 next week, yeah? I'll
Yeah.
post on the site tonight, so we'll try and get if anyone else wants to come.